when I initially got the part in Dead Poets, I mean, I was kind of intimidated. I was kind of scared. As I'm doing that, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 cop cars all descend onto the front of this property, up the driveway. And then Robin Williams walks in, and he sat right across from me. Sometimes, the universe tests you like that.
Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to Enigma podcast. This is the podcast where we dive deep into the world of creativity and explore the creative journeys of artists, creators, and writers. I'm your host, Diana, and joining us today is Allelon Ruggiero, a very talented actor, best known for his role as Steven Meeks in the film Dead Poets Society, and also producer and co-founder of Aeriform Arts. So could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, that is me. She got it right.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for being here today with me on the podcast. So you were just a senior in high school when you landed the role of Steven Meeks. Could you please walk us through that moment? Do you remember your first audition for this movie?
I do. Okay, so I was going to the Performing Arts School of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Which was an offshoot of the University of the Arts, just to let you know, give you some context. In Philadelphia, the casting community is very small. At the time there was only maybe 3 casting directors in Philly, and it kind of felt like everybody knew each other, if you know what I mean. It was just a very small community, and once in a while they would come to our school to look for, if they're looking to cast a teenager, something like that. They would rarely come to our school. One of the casting directors was that we worked with a lot, or that we would see around the school, or she would often kind of take inventory of the talent that the school actually had. Her name was Elena DeSantos, and at the time she was a very big casting director in Philadelphia. She had gotten a notice in regards to Dead Poets Society. They were looking for Kennedy-esque young men, teenagers, to be cast in, I believe it was 3 of the roles that were still kind of up for grabs. And so initially, actually, I mean, this is it's kind of a funny story how it happened, but initially there was only like maybe 20 male actors at the school itself. I mean, maybe in total. It was a very small school. So she came in, she saw some of us, and then she asked some of us individually to come to her casting office basically in South Philadelphia. She had this casting office. I went down there, I looked at the sides, I read it. They gave us the afternoon off from school, from Performing Arts High, to go and audition for this. And I went. So I was psyched. I was like, at the very least, I have the afternoon off. I went down there, I read the sides, I met with her, and she initially told me that I was not right for this part at all. Mm-hmm. But she said, go ahead and read it anyway, So I did. I had fun with it, whatever. Forgot about it, went home. About a week went by, and I got a call from her saying that she was completely wrong and that I was actually perfect for this role. Mm. So I don't know what happened with the casting notes, and needed me to come to her office. I'm sorry, her home, and be put on tape. I think she had only had that office for a brief amount of time. Anyway, it was an emergency. She had to have me come out and put me on tape because they were sending that tape to New York, and it had to happen like right away. So at the time, this is 1988. So it's not like cell phones were a thing, back then. And I didn't have a car. That's not something that when you live in downtown Philadelphia, you do. It's mostly public transit. So anyway, I began this journey. I'm like, oh, how am I even going to get to her house? She lived out in the suburbs someplace. So, so I actually believe that this part of the story is the litmus test as to why I actually got the part, or at least got a chance to. I took the bus out to her house. I didn't know where I was going. I literally asked the bus driver. I kind of like I called and kind of figured out which line was going out to where she was. And then I went there and I got on the bus and I asked the guy, do you go to this street in this town, And he said, yes. I said, well, you let me know because I've never been out this far. I literally showed him the address. And I went out, and probably a good 45-minute drive out in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, into the suburbs. Very nice neighborhood, the kind of neighborhood where there is no more sidewalks, it's mansions, big stone houses everywhere. I was thinking, wow, I had no idea that casting paid so well, The guy pulled up to the street. It was in the middle of this very nice neighborhood. Let me off. He said, oh, yeah, you're up there. It's up this block, whatever. Okay, I get out. I literally have like my picture and resume and like the address. And I'm like walking up the street, looking at the pretty buildings. And I find the address. I go up. It's this beautiful house, big circular driveway. I walk up. There doesn't seem to be anybody there. There's nobody home. Knock on the door. Look around the house. And kind of like, I don't know. And again, no cell phone, right? I can't call anybody. I'm just kind of waiting, hopefully someone will answer the door. I'd say about 10 minutes goes by and a cop car comes up the street. And I think, oh, thank goodness, this guy's going to be able to help me, So I walk down to the driveway and I kind of wave at him, and he comes up the driveway and he meets me. And I explained my situation. I'm like, I'm here for an audition. I'm trying to figure out, but it doesn't seem to be any home. And I was very kind of confused as to what was going on. And I started walking back up towards the house, which I thought like with him, And he said, I remember as I was walking up, he was like, wait, turn around, put your hands on the car. Mm-hmm. Right. And I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble. Right. So I put my stuff down. And as I'm doing that, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 cop cars all descend onto the front of this property, up the driveway. Cops are getting out. And I remember this one very large, very tall police officer with a mustache came up to me and he started grilling me. Like, what are you doing here? Asking me questions about the audition. Have you ever been in this neighborhood before? And he was very aggressive. Like, it looked like this guy wanted to like punch me or something. Mm-hmm. I just kept on reiterating my situation, and thank God I had this stupid picture and resume with me. Because it was the only real proof that that's what I was there for, There's a little bit of a kerfuffle for a few minutes, and then one of the police officers calls Alina DeSantos, the casting director, and confirms my story. And basically what had happened was I was on the right road, I was on the right street, but the wrong town. So it was literally like the next town over, but the same street. And I was probably at like the south address as opposed to the north address. The police officer was very nice. put me in the back of his car, and he gave me a ride to the casting office, to Elena DeSantos' home, who was very impressed with my entrance, having a police escort the whole way. So that was, in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I had to go through this thing. Oh, and by the way, what they were looking for was basically there was a string of robberies in that neighborhood on that block by a young man with a leather jacket on, which I had like a motorcycle jacket on, and red hair. So I kind of fit the description, unfortunately, but once they confirmed my story, and he had been almost caught and apparently had shot the police officer and killed him. So they literally were looking at me like I was like some kind of, like a cop murderer or something. You know what I mean? Like they thought I was like a cop killer. So I can understand why the mustached police officer was very aggressive with me. He thought he'd caught his man. Anyway, got it to Elena DeSantos' house, did my audition. Another week goes by, and she says, you got to go to Disney in New York and read with the director. Now, I had seen Gallipoli and maybe one other Peter Weir film at that point. Witness, of course. But I really wasn't that familiar with Peter Weir, to be honest with you. I was very naive at that moment as far as my who directors were and what they meant. I just knew what movies I liked. I really wasn't that familiar with directors. Anyway, I went to New York, met with Peter and Howard Fuhr, the casting director, and it was it was just one scene that I had to read, and it was very. I mean, I didn't have a lot to go off of when I went up there. I felt like I kind of knew who he was at that point. But I remember going in and I read with Peter, and we read the scene together, and he was like, okay, great. You know it. Put down the sides and we'll just improv the scene together. So we did that maybe once or twice, maybe. And then he was very interested. After that, we just talked, right? And he was asking me what was going on in my life and what I was in, performing arts high school, and I had mentioned that I had just come off of doing like a Shakespeare in the Park, Romeo and Juliet, and Midsummer Night's Dream with a repertory company over the summer. So that was literally my life over the summer, was doing those two plays, and then I was working at a restaurant as a busboy during the day, and so I had told him like that's what I had just completed, and now I'm back in class. I'm finishing my senior year, and he just wanted to talk about the Shakespeare. He wanted to talk about my experience on that. He was really, really curious about my training in it and my teacher and what I was doing and my part and all that. So what I got out of the audition is that he wanted to improv, and he wanted to know about the Shakespearean background, and I thought it was a very friendly. It was a great audition. I had a lot of fun with him. Actually, it was one of the few times I've had a really good fun, a lot of fun reading with the director. Completed the audition, drove back to Philadelphia, and or my father drove me back to Philadelphia, and a week went by, and they said, you got it. And I had to leave almost immediately. Within a few days, I had to get down to Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah, that was it. I was on my way.
It's fascinating. Your story had so many plot twists. I'm just so shocked, especially about the cop story. It's just...
I know. The cop story is something that I had recently shared with Well, I'm. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to tell it, because I shared that story with my friend Dylan, who plays Cameron, and recently, like maybe 9 months ago, I told him the story. He was like, "My God, I never heard that story, man." He was like, "I've known you and hung out with you for decades, and I've never heard the cop story." So yeah, it is, but sometimes the universe tests you like that, right? Like it'll throw something. That's happened to me a few times. It'll throw certain things at you, and I kind of feel like that's the test, if you will, right? Like you got to go through that test in order to get to the next stage.
Yeah, in order
So, I don't
to
know.
achieve something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first day on the set?
Ooh, I believe our very first shoot day was the very first shoot day was actually that soccer where we're reciting the poetry outside on the soccer field with Robin, or where we all have our little passages and we kick the ball. That was the very first day. So it was kind of it was one hell of a way to kick off our adventure, with Robin and the whole production itself. So that kind of set the tone.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you are the co-founder of Aeriform Arts, right? You founded it with your wife. And what was the thought behind it? Why did you decide to create such a company?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a couple different reasons. Me and my wife had been thinking about opening a business for a while together, but we weren't really sure what we wanted to do. We come up with a couple of different ideas, but they're all kind of done before. You see them, we couldn't come up with anything really like that struck us. And at the time, she would, like, part of her workout was doing aerial and doing aerial yoga and pole dancing. That was like her workout routine. And she was a gymnast as a young person. She in college she was a competitive gymnast. And I was going to Crunch, and I had a trainer, but I also was experiencing some back issues, so I started doing aerial yoga myself to kind of get some inversion going and lengthen my spine. And I really got into it. I started taking a lot of classes at Crunch, and I really enjoyed it. And we just kind of were brainstorming one day, and we're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had like a aerial yoga, pole dancing, aerialist workspace that we could have classes in, and we could, do interesting stuff, in there. And wouldn't that be interesting? We had a little school. And so we started looking for a space. We started looking for like a defunct dance studio with high ceilings. That was our criteria, And we found one in North Hollywood. It didn't have the height that we really wanted, but it was still pretty, like the ceilings are about 13 feet, which is pretty good. But it already had the mirror in it, and it had a nice little office in the front. It was right on Lankershim, so it's a thoroughfare right in North Hollywood. A lot of artists live there, It's kind of a hip scene. NoHo, it's right at the tip of the NoHo Arts District. So we thought it could be a cool opportunity. We did it. We rolled the dice. It was kind of hard at first, but we've managed to keep it open for almost 15 years now, which is kind of crazy to think that much time has gone by.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's where we started with it. That we're doing well. the aerial community, luckily we're in a place like Los Angeles where there is an aerial community and you have professional dancers, because a lot of professional dancers are trying to add aerial to their repertoire. It's, if you see any of these circus, Cirque du Soleil shows, you know what I mean? That's very popular, so if you know some kind of aerial, that it's a good thing for your resume. So we're doing all right. We have kind of gravitated towards more like things like lyra and trapeze and silks. Right now we only have one aerial yoga class, which I love. I took it last week. But we've noticed, you have to kind of go with what your customers want, supply and demand. And most of our business is, kind of the harder apparatuses, I guess. The lyra is very popular where we are, which is the big circle that people hang out inside of. So, it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, that's so great to hear. Yeah, and now we'll go to the section with questions from fans and viewers. And when I posted the announcement featuring you as my guest, Gail Hansen commented, and he said, "Tell LG says hi." So I'm saying hi from his side.
Hi, Gail.
Yeah, and
yes, I love Gail.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Actually, Gail is the person that most people ask me about. So. Whenever whatever happened to Gail Hansen, whatever happened to Nwanda, people always want to know what happened to him. So I love Gail.
Yeah, he's always so supportive on Twitter, now X. Yeah, for example, I used to post my poems there, and he always commented, and shared. So he's really nice.
I love Gail. He's a great guy. I just saw him recently. He looks amazing.
That's so great to hear. So let's go to the first question from a fan. What has been your favorite moment in your career other than Dead Poet Society?
Ooh, I've had many favorite moments other than Dead Poets. I'd say honestly, one of my most favorite moments was when I got to direct a show with Aeriform. We did we participated in the Hollywood Fringe Festival back in 2019 and 2018 as well. In 2019 we did a rendition of the classic ballet Giselle, but we did it as an aerial piece, an aerial show, like a cirque show, and I got to direct it. And I worked with a couple of our instructors, Danny Maloney and Colleen Lafousfous, and they were my choreographers. But what I really enjoyed, and it's kind of like a dream come true for me, is that I was able to cast many of the role, and we had a cast of maybe 13 or 14 people. I was able to cast all the roles from our instructors and our students, and I thought it was an amazing show, and it was really challenging for me because basically I've directed other things before, but all of them involve dialogue, right? There's no dialogue. It's telling a story through movement. And that, for me, was a big challenge. It was something that I really wanted to kind of take on. Can you tell a story with no words, right? Which it's an experiment for me. It was an experiment for me in telling a story with no words, and it also translates weirdly into cinema too. I think, you can do so much more with the camera and with cinema. With less sometimes rather than more.
Yeah, I really like when, for example, directors, they don't use the words to show what the character is feeling, but to show it through the movement, through the camera work, through the scenery, and it's
Correct. Yes.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, and I really like when directors or like camera operators they do that.
Yes, you're right. You can tell whole stories through a camera movement, right? So for me, it was an elaborate experiment in that for me, and I think it really turned out amazing. You can check it out on. I believe it's on YouTube. If you guys, if anybody wants to go check it out, it's on YouTube. It's Cirque du Giselle is what it's called. So I'm very, very proud of that as far as a career milestone. That's for sure one that stands out.
Yeah, I'll definitely go watch it after the podcast. And maybe I'll share it in the comments or somewhere so that
I would love that.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Watch it as well. Yeah, the next question, it's kind of connected with what you shared earlier. Are you still in touch with Dead Poets Society cast?
Yes. I have a special place in my heart for all the guys. I love them all. But I see Dylan Cussman regularly and talk with him regularly. I communicate occasionally with James Waterston. I still talk with and see Gail Hansen. It's been a while since I've seen Josh Charles. He's a busy boy. Ethan Hawke, same thing. Robert Sean Leonard, I love him. He's a busy guy, so it's hard to nail these guys down. And it's sort of the natural progression of any kind of friendships. People kind of drift in and out of your life. I just feel very lucky that I'm still in touch with, at least on a regular basis, at least 3 of them. But and in fact, Dylan, I speak with him. I just talked to him the other day, and him and I did a short film together called "We Can Never Go Back," and we shot that 2 years ago. It's just now coming out, so I've had a lot of contact and sort of collaboration with Dylan Cussman in the past. We've worked on a lot of little independent projects and scripts together.
Yeah, that's so heartwarming to hear that you're not only staying in touch but also working and doing something together. That's so cool.
Absolutely. I enjoy working with friends.
Yeah, as for the next question, it's connected with Dead Poet Society as well. What was it like having Robin Williams as a scene partner?
Well, amazing. I have to say, when I initially got the part in Dead Poets, I mean, I was kind of intimidated. I was kind of scared of, I'd grown up with this guy. I'd grown up, with Garp and Popeye and, Good Morning Vietnam. I mean, Mork, so I was a big fan of him already. And then you hear you're going to work with him. It's just it's a little scary. And you hear stories about how he, it's just a very dominant energy on set. And he was. So it can be kind of a scary thing. But I found my interactions with him and working with him to be amazing. He was a big giver. He was a big giver of energy. He had a lot to give. And he would often keep us awake with telling jokes and being goofy and palling around and being silly, I mean, he's Robin Williams, he's a comedian. And I remember, my very first interaction was when we were rehearsing the scenes. We had a table read, and they had gotten a boardroom like a small boardroom at the hotel where we were staying. We did it in there, and it was all of us and the director, and I think the producer, AD was there, a couple of production people, and then Robin Williams walks in, and he sat right across from me, directly across from me. And, I just was a little, starstruck, honestly, at that point. But then you get to know him and you got to work with him and talk with him, and he was just a really sweet guy. He was a really sweet individual, and I found him to be very, very, like, he was very giving. He would share that energy to keep you going, right? He seemed genuinely concerned about what was going on in the moment, in the scene, even beyond just the characters, but also how you were doing. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I came to appreciate that about him.
Yeah, Robin Williams has also been a part of my childhood, even though I was born in 2001. And I'm not sure why, but he always felt like this kind grandpa or uncle that we all have. I'm not sure why, yeah, but he has this great energy.
He has that presence, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as for the next question, it's also connected with the same movie. At the end, when the boys stand on the desks and say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," what was going through your mind during that filming? Did you have any idea it would become one of the most iconic final scenes in cinema?
Well, I can't remember what was going through my mind. Probably that I never wanted it to end.
Mm-hmm.
As far as did we know? I don't think any of us knew that it was going. We knew we were in a cool movie with Robin Williams, but you never know, right? Like, even with Peter Weir at the helm, you never really know how well it's going to go. A lot of movies never see the light of day and just disappear. And I think that we were all kind of aware of that. We did know, I think, on a certain level that we were making something kind of special, but whether or not it would be an iconic part of cinema, I don't think anyone had any inkling that was what it would turn into.
And as for the last question from our viewers and fans, what's the most memorable or unusual encounter you've had with a fan?
Wow. I've had a few fan encounters. You know what? The one that sticks out for me. There's a few. I went to an orphanage once. It's not funny at all. I don't know why I'm laughing. I went to an orphanage once. Kids who are, waiting for foster care, waiting to be adopted, and they had shown the movie in the I don't even know. Is that the appropriate name? Orphanage? Do they even still call them orphanages? That was a very heartwarming experience that so many kids seem to appreciate the film and really got something from it. I don't know. Maybe it was just the where I was at that moment, but it's just going and speaking to them about it and meeting all of them and hearing a lot of their stories. That was one of the most memorable fan experiences, I think.
And what about online experience? Maybe any fun encounters that you had online, for example, when a fan sent you an art or something like that, or a post?
I've had a few. I mean, I got one the other day. Somebody had sent me some things to sign, autograph stuff. There's an interesting thing that's been going on recently that I have to say I kind of enjoy. a lot of, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of fans over the years with Carpe Diem tattoos, and I am kind of, I kind of identify with that line a lot because it's my line in the film. So I've gotten a lot of fandom recently that want my signature as a tattoo of Carpe Diem. And if it started off with like just one, this is recently, like within the past year, this has been happening. And I think even if you go on my IG page, I have a couple of them that are listed. But like, so I think it's interesting, and I'm kind of somewhat flattered. At first, it was a little weird, but like that people want me to do my signature, my cursive or whatever on as their Carpe Diem tattoo. That it's a little it was a little odd at first, but now I was like, I have a lot of friends who are in that world, who are tattoo artists and stuff, and I kind of feel like, if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna have that, etched on your skin, and you know what I mean, like, yeah, why not get the guy who said it in the movie, right, to have it be his print or his cursive, whatever it is, as opposed to just like whatever you get at the tattoo shop. So, and nothing against that. I'm sure that nothing against the tattoo artists who do it. That's absolutely, but I think that I just think it's kind of interesting and somewhat flattering that people want me to do that. So anyway, that's been a more recent development.
Yeah, I just love the DPS community on X and on Instagram as well. Yeah, because people share all this beautiful art and all the beautiful messages. Yeah, and interact. Yeah, with each other.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
I had someone do a portrait of actually a fan here in Anaheim by the name of Meg. Did a really cool like a fan portrait of Steven Meeks. And so I always like to see people's renditions of Steven Meeks. So yeah, I like fan artwork.
Yeah, I enjoy it as well. Yeah, when I go through posts on social media. Yeah, and as for the last part of our podcast, we usually play a game called This or That. So I'll give you two variants, and you have to choose one of them quite quickly. So the first one is theater or film?
Ooh, film.
Drama or comedy?
Drama.
Action on camera or working behind the camera?
Action on camera.
Blockbuster studio film or independent indie film?
Independent.
Playing the nice guy or playing the villain?
The villain.
Running the business or teaching the art?
Teaching the art. I don't teach acting. I have coached people, and I do find that a lot of fun to do. I enjoy that and helping guide people, but I have never gotten up in front of a class and done it. Maybe I will. It's kind of fun. I mean, I had a really, really great. I've taken some acting classes in my life, and I have to say the ones that I got at the Performing Arts School of Philadelphia with my old teacher Paul Wigar were still some of the best classes. Other than that, the only thing that's really taught me a lot about acting is actually working in it. I think once you get a really good foundation, a really good baseline as far as how to develop your technique and your skills and once you get a really good strong foundation as an actor, I think the next best step is to like just fully dive into any kind of work, whether it be theater or film or whatever. That's where you're going to get the best. That's where you're going to develop your skills the quickest. That's what it is, by actually working. You can do stuff for years in class, but if you get an opportunity to actually put it in motion on a stage or in front of a camera or whatever, I think that's like the express lane on how to become a great actor.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. As for the next question. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, I hate it, but night owl.
Yeah, same. City energy or quiet escape?
Now, quiet escape.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Dog person or cat person?
Dog.
Do you have any pets, by the way?
I do. Where is she? Where is my little darling? I have a Boston Terrier who I love to death, Lola. She's around here someplace. She's hiding. Yeah, I love kitties. Don't get me wrong. I grew up with cats. Cats are so great. In fact, I had an outdoor cat, black cat as a panther. I loved him. Kept all the mice in check. But in general, yeah, I'm a dog person. I love a canine.
And the last one, loud characters or quiet characters?
Quiet.
Quiet characters, I see. And before we wrap up, do you have any exciting announcements, maybe about any upcoming projects that you have or anything that you would like to share with our listeners and viewers?
I do. There's two projects that I have out in the world right now. And one is I mentioned before, with my friend Dylan Kussman, directed by Amina Hughes, called We Can Never Go Back. We shot that short almost 2 years ago, and it's just now, we had a screening in Perth in Australia. It's supposed to be part of the Holly Shorts Festival here in Los Angeles. I think we have another screening coming up. It's been a long time coming, but it's starting to get out in the world, and I think that you'll be able to see it on YouTube shortly. And so there's that, and then I just last month shot a film called Cuffy Taxed, which is the Paul Cuffy story, and I shot that with my longtime friend Anita Allison. I won't spoil the whole story for you. It's a historical film, and it is about Paul Cuffy, who was one of the first black men to born free black indigenous men to address the whole concept of taxation without representation. So, and I get to play a Quaker abolitionist by the name of William Roach Sr. So I just saw a rough cut the other day. It's coming along marvelously. I think we have a screening coming up in August. So we're very, very excited about that project. Yeah, please look for both of them.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward here to all your upcoming projects. Yeah, and I'll share all the links to your social media platforms so people could stay tuned with all the news that you have about any projects. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a really great time listening to all your amazing stories. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, also liking this video and sharing a comment. Yeah, and until then, keep exploring, keep creating, keep shining, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you.